In today's video, I'll be sharing how this gorgeous beaded cap was made in very simple steps. This is something that I have had on my to-do list to share on here on the channel for weeks. I finally got to it and I decided to film the entire process for you guys. This beaded cap is very versatile and can be worn with different variations of outfits. If you'll be interested in knowing all about this process, please endeavor to watch this video to the end. Subscribe to this channel if you are yet to subscribe. Like the video if you enjoyed watching at the end of the video or even in between, which I'm sure you would. Also, if you have questions, suggestions or feedback, please feel free to drop them in the comment section. Share this video with a friend. Alright guys, let's get straight into today's tutorial. Let's go. To make this headpiece, I used a combination of sand beads, crystal beads, sequins, seed beads, and I went ahead to also incorporate cup chain and rose montes and cloth stones as I went along in making this headpiece. This tutorial is very detailed, so I'm going to allow you guys see what I'm showing you, and then I'm going to jump straight in and explain everything that I'm sharing on here on the video. Please remember to like the video, subscribe, share, and leave me comments. Hi my loves, so I'm just here to just explain what's going on here. What I've done so far, as you guys can see, is that I've beaded a lot of fabric. Okay, I cut them into this like leaf-like shape, if you would. I'm sure a couple of you guys might think that this is like my favorite shape of pattern, right? Because I've done this leaf pattern a couple of times, but there's a particular design of headwear that I'm trying to try my hands on, so I just thought to share with you guys as well, just in case you're hoping to try this out for maybe your collection, for your business, or for yourself. I must say that it's quite a task, right? I've been on it since Monday and today is Thursday. I've been beading, even though I've not been taking it seriously, right? I've just been doing it. Once I get bored and I'm looking for something to just do, I'll come to my workspace and bead a couple of fabric, take a break again, do some other stuff, edit videos and stuff. So, but if you're dedicating your whole time to this, it shouldn't take you more than 2 to 3 days, all right, depending on how fast you are ultimately. But I've done about 51 pieces of this so far, and the target is to do about 80 pieces. I still have like these leaf patterns here already cut out, and I did different beading patterns on the different pieces. Okay, I've done a lot of beading pattern videos on here on the channel. If you are new here, I suggest that you go check it out, watch them, decide which beading pattern you want to use for your own shapes that you've cut, and don't feel pressure to cut leaves as well. You can cut circles, you can cut triangles, you can cut squares, rectangles, cut anything. You can even cut shapeless stuff and make it into something beautiful. Okay, but for the sake of this tutorial, I used leaves. So as I was saying, decide which beading pattern you want to do and then bead on the fabric. If you know that okay, you don't have time for beading, you just want to have your fabric and then maybe put cup chain around the brim, right? Do that as well, it works. Ultimately, the creativity part of this entire process is yours. I'm just here dropping inspiration. All right, so now that all of that has been said, I use the, what they call it now, the overlapping beading pattern, and I believe I've done a separate video showing you guys how to achieve this beading pattern in that video. If you've not seen it, I'm going to link it on the screen. Feel free to check it out if you want to know how I achieved this entire beading pattern. And then in between, I did some spruce here and there. Like for this one now, I used sequins at the brim and then did some beadwork here. Every single beading pattern that I did in this bowl, I have done tutorials on them on the channel. So watch my beading tutorial playlist and then decide what you want to do. Anyway, you need about 80 pieces of this or less, depending on how large you cut your leaves. These leaves are, let me even do the measurement for you guys on camera so you know what's up. So it's about 1 inch wide, as we can see. I hope we can see. It's about 1 inch wide and about 2.5 inches long. All right, tweak it to your own desired measurement, but this is it. It's about 2.5 inches long and 1 inch wide. You can do yours 3 inches by 2 inches. Decide how wide you want your leaf to be. And yeah, so I'm just going to go ahead now to first of all bead this remaining portion of fabric. And once all my fabrics have been beaded on, it will be time to now attach them methodically. Let me use big English for you people. Onto this cap. Let me zoom out for you guys to see the cap. So this cap is what we call the pillbox hat, and you can get it from your sewing accessories shop, or from your fabric shop, or from these people that sell wedding material. So you know these shops where people go to buy wedding things. It's pretty common out here in the south region of Nigeria. I mean, here in Port Harcourt, they use this cap a lot, and I believe even in places like Lagos you would find this. If you go to your Tejo show or your Lagos Island, go to Tom Jones where they sell sewing accessories, you'll find it. In any of your major markets, you can go to, what's the name of this other markets that Pot of Flavors goes to? I can't remember. Anyway, people that live in your city, I believe you guys, especially if you are a fashion person, you know the best markets to go to check for fabric and accessories. Do that. Out here in Port Harcourt, as you guys know, I shop from Rumumasi, which is the morning market, and I also shop from Mile 1, and I have a whole video where I put all my vendors there, because I know somebody will say, oh, where in Port Harcourt do you buy stuff? I have a video, I'll link it on the screen. Go check out that video. I dropped their contacts as well in that video, so you can call them and ask questions. Anyway, I'll go ahead to bead these fabrics. Once I'm done beading, it will be time for us to work on the attaching process onto this cap. I'll be right back. So this is the next day, actually, from the last time you guys heard me speak, and I have just about 8 pieces of fabric left to bead on. But the reason why I'm here, the main gist is I was sewing on these flat bottom blings or stones, if you would. This is what they look like. I've shared them in my gems and embellishment video. I shared more about these things. That gems and embellishment video, I highly recommend that you guys check it out. So some of the questions that might come up when you watch me do all these things, you have the answers to them in that video. And like I said, it's linked in the description, so scroll to the bottom of the description, it's there, and probably somewhere here on the screen as well, I'll link it there. So this is the flat bottom gem that I'm talking about. So I'm just here to show you guys how you typically sew it on fabric. Let me zoom in properly so you get to see what I'm doing clearly. What you need, of course, is your thread, your needle and thread. I sincerely hope that my microphone is picking up my voice right now, but if it's not picking my voice, I'll just do a voiceover in this portion. So I'm using my beading needle, of course. Please note that with all these things, if I'm not sewing fabric to fabric and I am not, you know, working on maybe my sewing machine, what I use is a beading needle. If you see me trying to tack stone, beads, even buttons, right? With buttons as well, you can try using your beading needle to tack button onto fabric, or which with certain types of buttons, depending on the size of the button, you can get away with using a proper hand needle with buttons. But with tiny objects like this that you're trying to hand sew, your best bet is a beading needle, and I'm using this size 12 beading needle. Feel free to use any appropriate size that you please. So anyway, I digress. So you want to first of all pass your needle and thread from the bottom like I did. I hope you guys saw. And then when you bring it out, you are passing it through this tiny hole on the gem that you are working on. Most of these flat bottom gems, the ones that don't have any hole, chances that one is obvious, you are going to stick it onto the fabric. But if you see these tiny holes like this one here, it shows you that you can tack it onto fabric. So when you bring out your needle, you pass it through this hole, then bring out your needle again beside this hole again from this other corner. I hope everything I'm saying makes sense. And then you put it back into the hole again and pull it out from the bottom. At the bottom, you pass your needle such that it comes out right beside this second hole here. Can we see? So this is what I'm going to do now. Just going to pass my needle. Because this fabric is black, I really pray that you guys can see. But even if you can't see, just listen to what I'm saying and practice. So now that your needle is out beside the hole, you pull it out firmly, then stick it into the hole like I'm doing right here. All right, and then pull from the bottom like so, and then pass your needle again beside the gem, pull out, and then stick it back into the hole like so. Secure your tack like so. Voila, that's the end. And this is what we have here, our fabric and our gem tacked on it. So what I am trying to achieve with this whole thing is I want my fabric to become this. Okay, so after I've tacked this at the center, I'll just bead all around it, and this is what you typically have. Now that all that is said, let me go ahead and bead on these 8 pieces of fabric, and then we'll get to attaching all our beaded work onto the cap. All right guys, so it's time for us to attach these beaded patterns that we've done here onto the cap. So the way we are going to start is we are going to start by following the V shape. So let me turn it this way so you guys can see. So you see with these pillbox hats, by the way, these hats are typically sold ready-made in the market. I believe for people living in Nigeria, when you go to your, say, Tejo market in Lagos, or Wuse market in Abuja, or your Mile 1 morning market, any local market, I'm not here to start listing all the markets in Nigeria, but go to your local markets where you typically buy sewing accessories and sewing tools from. You would find people that sell these hats ready-made. I bought it in Port Harcourt for 2,500 naira from a person in Mile 1. I didn't collect her contact, but her name is Kali. Her name is Kali, and her shop is in Mile 1 market. So maybe if you go to Mile 1 market, if you're lucky, just ask for Kali's shop. Hopefully the person is able to direct you to the right place. Anyway, I digress. So it's time to attach these beaded patterns onto the cap to now transform these regular schmegular hat to a full-blown beaded hat. And with the placement, there's no hard and fast rule. Just place it in the most aesthetically pleasing way you can, okay, depending on how you want to arrange your beads. I'm just going to be picking randomly from this bowl and then placing my patterns onto the cap. And for the attachment of these patterns onto the cap, what I'm going to be using is what we call hot glue. I've talked about glues. If you've not seen my video on glues, feel free to check it out and see the types of glues that I typically use in my business. Anyway, back to the tutorial. Now it's time to just start by applying the glue onto the back of the pattern that we've drawn. Just in case you guys are hearing any noise in the background, it's my fan that is blowing. The weather is hot out here in Nigeria, and I don't want to be sweating ridiculously while filming this portion of the video. So now that I have something like this, it's time to place it on the hat like so. Please, with the placements, be very careful. And with glue as well, if you have glue just stretching around, feel free to just pick them off as much as you can. So I'm just going to be going around like so. Pick another piece. So with the beading of these patterns, let me just explain something. I used a size 4 seed bead for some of it, and I used a size 2 seed bead for some. So I'm just going to be interchanging between the larger size of seed bead and the smaller size. So let's say this is let's call this sand bead and seed bead. So I'm going to do one leaf pattern that was beaded using seed bead, and then place another one beaded with sand bead right beside it, just so there's some kind of progression in the arrangement. With yours, like I said earlier, feel free to do whatever you like. I'm just explaining what I'm doing because I know that you guys are always curious to know. So on to the next, same process. Apply some glue and place it carefully. So I'm going to keep quiet now, just so we move quickly and then there won't be too much talking. So just watch me as I go to see how I bead this entire portion before we now move to the sides. If you have questions, as usual, please feel free to drop them in the comment section. Also, if you're not subscribed, please remember to hit the subscribe button, and also remember to turn on the post notification by tapping the bell right beside the subscribe button. Like this video if you're enjoying it so far. And yeah guys, I'll come back to talk to us once I'm done beading or covering up the entire cap. This is what we have here. Everywhere is beaded, and with the placements, I just tried my best to be creative with it. Just placed the pieces around strategically. I don't know if I said it earlier, but while doing your own placements, please do what works for you. You don't have to feel the need to follow my own method to the T, but if you like how I did mine, feel free to just replicate it. However, for this portion that we left open at the back, in order to cover it, I have my, what's it called now, my pieces here. So this is like a tiny piece of fabric. It's also a felt fabric. Let me just move closer so you can see just a little piece, and I cut it in like this quarter circle shape. And then what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be placing these beaded pieces of patterns, or I don't even know what it's called, these leaf patterns. I'm going to be placing them all around this circle until we have something that looks like this going on, just like around. And I think there's still some space here. I don't know if we can still squeeze in one more piece here. Let's see. We could just place them around. Try to make sure that it's not overcrowded. So what I'm going to be using is my hot glue. I'm just going to grab my hot glue now and then plug it in real quick. All right, friends, so after doing this all over this quarter circle situation that I have going on, I went ahead to trim off the excess fabric that we're picking underneath the beaded patterns, and then I went ahead to paste it finally on the cap. This is what the end result looks like. I went ahead to just give you guys a montage of what it all looks like. Feel free to make your own desired changes to what I've shared on here on the video. If you have questions for me after watching all the way through, remember to feel free to just drop your comments with your question in the comment section. If you enjoyed watching and you're yet to hit the like button, please support me by hitting the like button. Subscribe to this channel as well. I try my best to share insightful, educative tutorials relating to fashion, sewing, and beading on here on the channel, and I would love to have you on here with me on this journey. I went ahead to also wear the cap on myself so you guys get to see what it would look like if you go ahead to replicate it for yourself. Thank you so much again for sharing your time with me. Thank you for watching. Remember to share this video with someone that you think would enjoy watching. All right, guys, I can't wait to see you in another tutorial very soon. Bye.